Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good day, students. For today's session, we will be focusing on data management, responsible handling of data, and data presentations. For the session, we will begin with clarifying the definition of certain terms that we will be using. Once clear with that, we will now determine why we should remain ethical and responsible in managing data. And lastly, this session will also give you a glimpse of the different common data presentations and the like. So without further ado, let us begin with our most used word for this discussion, namely data. Students, when we say data, we are referring to the set or collection of facts that are represented through numbers, words, or sometimes even pictures. However, data cannot serve its purpose if it will remain just data. As we know, certain conclusions are considered credible once backed up with concrete data. Remember logical reasoning? In order to have a conclusion, we must have our factual basis. Now, once the data has been processed, organized, or used as a basis, it is then referred to as information. And this information can be in the form of a text where we use words or sentences. We have a table where we organize data in rows and columns. And we also have our graphs that use visuals. As we know, students, we have a variety of learning styles. Hence why we have a different data presentations, wherein the data is presented in a way that is convenient for its audience to understand. First on the list is textual presentation, which is a mixture of text or sentences and numbers. I suppose this is what most of you use during your research back in high school. On the other hand, if it leans heavily on numbers and it uses a table, that one is a tabular presentation. And for our visual learners, you might prefer graphical presentations as it involves charts, graphs, or even pictures. Going back to data, there are two types of data, mainly categorical and numerical data. But what is their difference? In categorical data, from the word itself, the data can be grouped or categorized. On the other hand, numerical data involves data that could be measured or counted. And if it could be measured, then the numerical data involves continuous variables. And if it can be counted, then that involves discrete variables. Now, aside from this classification, we have what we call levels of measurement, which help us know what our data is trying to say and to what extent we can apply mathematics in our data. Starting with nominal, in this level, we only have qualitative data, which we can categorize. The next level is ordinal, somehow similar to nominal, but in here, we can distinguish the order of the data, which one is higher or which one is greater. Third one naman is interval, still somehow similar with ordinal, but the reason why it is higher in level is because unlike in ordinal, the gap or the distance between data is equal and measurable. The last level is ratio. The key difference of this level to interval is the value of 0 because in ratio, 0 holds no value. Now, as we have observed, data in short holds the unfiltered truth. And that is why one must be ethically aware and responsible in handling such matters. By that we mean that any individual must remain professional and avoid being subjective in order to ensure that the interpretation of data is as factual as its basis. Presented on your screen is the principles of ethical awareness and responsible handling of data. First on the list is privacy. Data must be accessible only to those who were granted permission. Honesty and fairness comes next, as data must remain objective at all times. Lastly, we have transparency, as being honest and fair must be shown not just to the source of the data, but also to those who will use the information from the said data. Now, why do we go such lengths for data? We must remember, students, that data comes from real people and real experiences. So our negligence towards the data we were entrusted with might lead to the data being weaponized and used against others. May ganun? Opo. Here we have our case study regarding national ID system. As you remember, in 2018, the Philippine government launched the Philippine Identification System or PhilSys, the national ID system. It aimed at providing a single official identification for all citizens and residents. So while the system has the potential to streamline government services and enhance efficiency, it also raised significant privacy concerns among citizens. Critics argue that the PhilSys could lead to mass surveillance, data breaches, and unauthorized access to sensitive and personal information. Concerns were raised about security measures in place to safeguard the data collected, as well as the potential misuse of personal data by government agencies or third parties. This case highlights the delicate balance between the benefits of centralized data systems for government services and the need to protect individuals' privacy rights. It also underscores the importance of transparency, accountability, and robust data protection laws in ensuring the ethical handling of citizens' data. Next is about the Comelec data breach back in 2016. So in March 2016, the Commission on Elections or Comelec of the Philippines experienced a massive data breach, considered one of the largest government data breaches in history. Hackers infiltrated the Comelec website and leaked the personal data of approximately 55 million Filipino voters. This data included sensitive information such as full names, addresses, birth dates, and in some cases, passport details and fingerprint data. The breach raised significant concerns about the security of the citizens' personal information, the adequacy of cybersecurity measures in government agencies, and the ethical implications of data handling and protection practices. Lastly, in 2016 as well, the Philippine government implemented a mass immunization program using Dengvaxia vaccine. It aimed at preventing dengue fever, a mosquito-borne viral infection prevalent in the country. However, controversy erupted when concerns were raised regarding the safety and efficacy of the vaccine, manufactured by the Sanofi Pasteur. Sanofi Pasteur later disclosed that Dengvaxia could potentially worsen dengue symptoms in individuals who had not previously been infected with virus. This revelation sparked public outrage and led to allegations of ethical misconduct and inadequate risk assessment by health officials. We don't relive this dark past to reopen wounds, but to shed light and better understand the weight of this issue. Here on your screen is the activities that you will be tasked to accomplish through this session. This is the part 1 and this is the part 2. Please clarify to your teachers if this will be done individually, by pair, trio, or by group. And that is all for this session.